We are Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar, giving you a raw take on movies, television, and pop culture. My name's Chris.
And I'm Scott.
And we have no JB today.
None. None whatsoever.
We rescheduled for this fucker only for him to cancel again.
Bastard.
I'll forgive him, though, because he's very busy. He's got a bunch of video work that he's doing. He has some commercials that he's working on for the Super Bowl, and he has some clients that he has to make happy. So, yeah, the big game and the big commercials from JB4. So
you can't say Super Bowl. You have to say the big game.
Oh, the big game.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. The big game for me happened, like, at the beginning of January.
Speaking of the big game, you saw Vince is getting the XFL in 2020?
Yeah.
He must have his own big game.
Unless they're starring in movies, we don't really talk much about wrestling. But, yeah, the XFL is is coming back for 2020, which is wrestling's attempt at football. So I think that, yeah, once again, it'll last one season. And the problem is, I know that you don't sports much, if at all. You know, I mean, unless you're like, you know, drunk at daiquiris and creams. You know, that's the only way that you're gonna sports it. But I'll just share two quick things about the XFL. First of all, I mean, this is all a response because of the NFL's declining numbers. Some people believe that it's because of kneeling for the national anthem. I think there's some validity to that. But I think that there's also a lot of validity as well, is the fact that concussions. I think that people are looking at that shit now, man. Players are getting fucking hurt. It's becoming more and more, it's becoming kind of more well-known that these guys are getting fucking hurt after years. I think it's too many commercials. I think it's oversaturation.
Oh,
I think there's a lot of shit that plays into...
And he said that's the answer. No,
yeah,
game, not so many commercials.
Well, and that's fine and good and all, but the thing with it is that if you can't field good fucking players, you're fucked. I mean, that's the reason that everybody brings up the why is why, and yeah, it was goofy and it was stupid, and they tried to turn it into reality TV, but all of that shit could have probably made it last a little bit longer if you would have had good athletes performing on field.
Even wrestling, those guys are good athletes.
Yeah.
You know? So if he can do that, if he can put on a good show, and if people still care by 2020, we'll see.
And it goes to show you the irony of everything. You know, excuse me. The irony of everything is that you're dealing with with the WWE, so to speak. But when you're messing with the WWE and shit, here's the question: what other major wrestling promotions are out there besides the WWE? Which ones?
That he hasn't bought?
Right, I mean, but no, which one currently stands? What else is out there to the level of WWE?
TNA, is that still a thing?
I don't even think that they're a fucking thing anymore. I think they rebranded and they're more like a territorial kind of thing now, from what I understand.
I don't know.
So there's nobody. So that goes to show you the NFL is the exact same way. You know, there's probably a lot more guys who are gifted wrestlers that can have an option to go somewhere. But, I mean, dude, it seems to me, that's the ultimate irony for you.
Mm.
You know, so I don't know. I don't understand why this fucking guy can't just concentrate on fucking wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't understand what his issue is.
He does one thing very well, and it's wrestling.
Yeah, and
it's entertaining. He does entertain people.
Yeah, they try to do movies, and they try to do music labels, and they try to do all this other different bullshit, and it just doesn't materialize for him, and it's just fucking stupid. But I will share this story really quick that relates to the XFL, which I think is really funny, and I know you don't sports much, but I'll go ahead and I'll break it down for you quickly.
Break it down.
All right, so in the old XFL, the best player in that league was a guy by the name of Ron Smart.
Okay.
On the back of his jersey, because in the XFL they would let guys express themselves with their jersey. He hate me was Ron Smart. Actually had a successful NFL career after the XFL. Well, there's a quarterback who used to play college football for Kentucky. His name was Jared Lorenzen.
Okay.
And he was a pretty talented quarterback, but the only thing with it is he put on about 300 pounds. So he started playing football semi-pro and billed himself as the Pillsbury throw boy. So he's a big fat motherfucker that can throw the ball around.
All right.
And he's pretty good, even though he's very large. Yeah, he's pretty mobile for his size. Well, what he did was he tweeted Vince McMahon today said that he wants to be
wants
and
in.
his hashtag was "He ate me."
Yeah.
So I thought that was really fucking funny. That was awesome.
Vince
But,
says he doesn't think he's going to do the whole thing like with the nicknames on the back.
nah,
again.
fuck no. I think he's going to learn the mistakes that he made last time. He's going to try to get it legitimate, and he's going to try to put together a legitimate product that can compete with the NFL.
We'll see.
But I will leave it off at this. The Pillsbury Throw Boy, not to be confused with the Billsbury Flow Boy, but the Pillsbury Throw Boy is the fucking greatest name in the history of not football, all sports.
It's pretty good.
It's fantastic. All right, so let's get to some news here.
News.
All right, so first of all, let's talk about. I haven't been to the movies in a while. Last movie that I saw in the theater was The Last Jedi, and you recently saw The Post.
I saw The Post. It's Steven Spielberg, Meryl Streep, Tom Hanks, Bob Odenkirk,
David Cross.
David Cross. It was a Mr. Show reunion.
Yeah, which is pretty
on
awesome.
screen. Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
except there was no comedy between them, but it was funny to see them both on. I don't know when he had time to do this film because every single one of those actors were literally doing other things as well as him. I mean,
Yeah.
Ready
Player One.
Ready-
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
But he got it and he put it out, and it was really good. I seemed like I wanted more out of it, but it's if you don't know what it is, it's basically Vietnam papers. The New York Times was going to release them, and the president, who was Nixon at this time, doesn't let them. And the Washington Post ends up getting those papers, and they want to put it out, and then it's a big freedom of press thing.
I was listening to Kevin Smith, and he was saying that you could watch The Post and then follow it right up with All the President's Men, and it almost plays like
It almost does.
yeah, like a sequel.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty. Yeah.
so yeah,
You
that's,
kind of want it to keep going, but yeah.
yeah, but that's pretty cool though, man.
And if you didn't know anything about it, which I didn't know any of that history prior to that. It's it's a learning experience on the big screen. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Washington Post's big foray into becoming a legitimate organization, and they uncover Watergate.
That's
I mean,
exactly
that's
what.
right.
Close to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, cool shit. I mean, that's a big award movie this season. That's going to be right up there with I can't remember the full title of the movie, but it has billboards in the title. That's the one with Frances
Billboards?
McDormand. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, and also The Shape of Water. Those are the three big mega contenders this
Have you
year with
seen
like
Shape of
multiple
Water?
categories. No, and I hear it's fucking excellent.
So-
I haven't seen it.
Speaking of the Paddington Bear 2 movie was
Uh-huh.
like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
The first one was incredibly reviewed, and they're saying that
My
excellent.
kids saw the first one, but I'm waiting to see if somebody has seen the second one because it blows my mind that this movie is 100% with no critics like shitting on it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, good movies are good movies, and that's cool when you
Yes.
got something that can resonate with 100% of the people. Unlike The Last Jedi.
Oh,
So, speaking of nominations, which is pretty cool, is some of the nerdy shit that we watch, and going back to Star Wars real quick, it picked up 4 nominations, 3 in the special effects categories, which is kind of standard for them. But John Williams has picked up his 51st nomination
Jesus.
for best score, which is pretty amazing. I mean, John had said that he watched a documentary on John Williams, and one of the things that was said is you could slow down any of his theme songs to any tempo and whistle them as slow as you can, and people will still recognize what they are.
Yeah.
So he's a fucking icon, man. I mean, and it's beyond Star Wars. I mean, even though,
Harry Potter.
oh, dude, Harry Potter, E.T., Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark,
did this-
Jurassic Park.
He did The Post as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. I mean, he's he's fucking hardcore, man. He's phenomenal. So very cool to see him pick up the 51st nomination. That's just fucking crazy. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 1 for 8 of those
really?
51s. Yeah.
All right.
So, all right, and another nomination, which is pretty cool, and I think is kind of a weird kind of thing, but it's really neat, man, is Logan actually picked up a nomination for Best Adapted
Screenplay. Yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, if you think about it, they're basing this off of a comic book. So this is the first love that you're getting, from a comic book in the story. I mean, yeah, Ledger won for the acting portrayal of the Joker, but this is pretty cool for somebody to come in and said, yes, we consider this adapted from a comic book. A comic book has come into consideration for being adapted, which is pretty neat, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. You know
We'll
what
see.
I'd like to, hopefully one of those, we see a movie like that pick up something, pick up an award like that. These movies always pick up the technical categories. But, man, they got some fucking great ones. And Logan is a great movie, man.
Yeah, I watched that the other night during the ice apocalypse. And it's just that's one of those movies where it's a good movie and it's a comic book movie.
Right. I mean, like we say in the time, man, it's like Dark Knight and also the Captain America 2 Winter Soldier. I mean, those two, which you should have watched that during the ice apocalypse, man.
Winter Soldier?
Yeah, man. You could have got a theme going.
Logan was on. It was on TV.
But I know what you're saying, and I agree with you, man. That's 3 movies that kind of transcend the genre, and they're just great movies that happen to be comic book movies.
Let me ask your opinion, because Wonder Woman didn't get any noms at all.
That doesn't surprise me.
But I mean, it didn't really surprise me either, and a lot of people were crying about that. But I don't.
Oh, of course.
I don't know that it was one of those movies that needed to be nominated.
Look,
it was a good movie, but that's like saying
Wonder Woman was a good superhero movie that follows pretty much the model of every other superhero movie, and I think the reason it was so well received is because outside of Superman and Batman movies, and that's even argumentative, some Batman movies, DC hasn't been able to hit a real big mark yet. But, I mean, all they did was follow a formulaic process of other superhero movies.
That's like saying Iron Man should have got it. The first Iron
I agree.
Man. Which, I mean, it was a good movie, but it wasn't like awards reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, Iron Man follows the same, it follows the same storyline. It follows that origin storyline. Here's a normal guy. Something traumatic or something dramatic happens to him in his life. And then what ends up happening is he has to overcome adversity and embrace being either a hero or whatever it is. And I mean, that's pretty much the model of all superhero movies. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have a couple of them that stick out and they do something totally different. And Logan, The Dark Knight, and
Winter Soldier,
Captain America, Winter Soldier definitely fall within that. So,
yeah.
Cool shit. And just sticking real quick on the comic book stuff. You've been watching Black Lightning, huh, over on the CW?
Have, yeah, and it reminds me of how Arrow was in the very beginning. Very, very gritty. Very
cool.
The story, the writing is just real well done. The acting's really good. The only thing that bothers me, and I'm 2 in. There's only 2 episodes so far. His costume really bothers me. It's very thick and bulky and very. It looks almost robotic.
Yeah,
and it's got the big giant flashes of the lightning bolts on his chest. In the fight scenes, he kind of seems very bulky, and it's just not, I don't know, not very smooth.
Well, his story is that he was a retired superhero, right?
That's the great thing about
kind of
this,
comes back.
is that
he comes back to the.
There's no origin. It just picks up with him being he's a retired superhero, but he's a principal in a high school, and that's how it starts. And then he, not to spoil anything, but does the Black Lightning thing for a one-off, and here we are. But it's really good, and it's well worth it. It's not as campy as the Flash. It's not silly like what Arrow is now.
Yeah, it's like those first 2 seasons of Arrow where it's sort of gritty kind of.
It kind of almost is on par with what would be on Netflix.
Oh wow! Huh. No shit.
I mean, it's that.
So you think that highly of it?
I do actually.
Huh.
I was very. I don't know anything about the superhero at all. So when I watched, I was like, oh damn, this was good. So then I was ready for the next episode, and it happened last night because it comes on after the Flash. So it's a good Tuesday night for if you're still watching the Flash, you get the Flash, and then you go right into Black Lightning, and it's
cool, man.
Like I said, the only thing, and the music is so great.
Yeah, they got that one cat that does the music for all the shows. And
whoever it's to the point where like they'll have a song playing, and the music is great flat out, but the song, you won't realize it as the song's playing in the background until a specific scene, and you're like, oh damn, that song goes with this scene.
Now, you're talking about rock music, or you're talking about the score?
I'm talking about, yeah, no, not the score. I'm talking about the actual. It seems like this is like real artists.
Oh, yeah. Well, so what it
real
comes down
songs.
to is that when you're Warner Brothers and you own a record label as well
Oh,
as
yeah.
owning a television show, you're going to pimp your musical artist within your shows.
Well,
which that's what they did big time for Smallville. They did that a lot when that was on air. So
they've got the formula on this show.
cool,
Nailed.
man. Cool.
I
Awesome.
suggest it.
Well, speaking of Netflix, Netflix is looking like two kind of not really announcements, but kind of like rumors, I would imagine. One rumor is that a franchise that Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar thinks very highly of, Cloverfield. I like the first Cloverfield movie, but the second one is fucking great. The 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yes.
There was a third one that was coming out, and it was labeled as The God Particle.
Correct.
And that was the working title for it before they integrated the Cloverfield, brand or title into it or whatever. But they're saying now that it's going to it's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, but now the rumor is that it's going to go direct to Netflix.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
I am too. And so much so that I went to buy tickets for Black Panther, and up and coming, this is how up in the air this is still. Upcoming, they list Cloverfield under the AMC app to purchase tickets. You just can't. They're none are available at this point.
Huh.
And it's weird because the title is still TBA.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah, it'll be interesting.
They don't even have a title for this yet.
Oh, dude, and I'll be there.
Oh, I will.
In fact, what was pretty cool is that I had really no intention to see 10 Cloverfield because I was like, Cloverfield. I mean, yeah, it was the whole, shake cam, POV movie and all that bullshit, the found footage, so to speak. I mean, it was okay. But it was my fiance actually that says, man, this movie 10 Cloverfield looks pretty creepy. Let's go check it out. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's go do it. So we went out one night and we saw it. And, man, I was blown away. It was fucking good, man. If you've never seen that, I highly recommend it.
Absolutely.
And their viral marketing campaign is fucking amazing.
So they started,
it's really cool.
They started with the Cloverfield 3, whatever it's going to be called. They started that marketing campaign this past weekend. So they have a website for one of the fictional companies within the Cloverfield universe that's been quote unquote offline for whatever, a year or so, and they just flipped the switch back on. So now it just has random stuff about the company and like real cryptic messages type going on. But I mean, that's how they did the first two movies, and it worked. I mean, it works for me at least.
Well, it seems that the found footage movies in particular, especially the Blair Witch Project, it's those movies really went hand in hand with viral marketing. And that was a big thing for both of those movies.
So like J.J. Abrams,
I think it's cool that they've continued it on with that deal,
J.J. Abrams did that sort of where they had like another world on, like in our world, like real life type thing with Lost as well. Like he had fictional companies that he just set up websites that just went with the lore of what was going on in Lost. And he's sort of doing that same thing with this franchise as well.
Well, I mean, dude, if you have social media and as popular as it is, why wouldn't you try to create something that's immersive and something that exists, something that's quote unquote real world? So really cool, man. Cool shit.
Yeah.
Also, another movie that they're talking about for Netflix, and I think this is definitely happening. It's going to come out a few weeks, or it's going to play a few weeks before it actually goes to theaters, is the movie Annihilation. And I'm actually really looking forward to this movie also. This is done by the same guy who wrote Ex Machina. And it's going to star Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaacs in this movie. And it looks really fucking cool. This kind of like, top shelf, high-end science fiction, more like your Black Mirrors and Ex Machina, Blade Runner. It's going to be along those lines. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one as well.
Yeah, I had no idea about this till the Cloverfield thing, and then I saw that Netflix and Paramount worked out a deal to release this movie after. So when it's released, 19 days after it's released in the theaters, they're going to put it on Netflix to stream internationally.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so I misunderstood that. So in other words, what's going to happen is going to release in the theaters, and then a short time after, they're going to put it on Netflix.
Only internationally, though.
Oh, okay.
So they I guess they feel strongly about. I mean, it's people are going to see this film, but they think that the U.S. market is strong enough to hold off so that they can.
Hey, man.
Leave it in theaters.
Hey, that's cool. So I was reading something about Netflix today. They say that their programming keeps escalating, and they were talking about this year alone, original programming, including licensed products going on Netflix. And what I mean by licensed products are the things that they're paying the CW, independent networks, IFC, Stars, Epics, whoever it is that they're paying to do this deal. They're saying that that's going to total up to $8 billion. $8 billion. But listen to this crazy shit. Hulu came in and said, we see your $8 billion and we're going to do $20 billion.
Well, it helps.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
It helps that they have Disney behind. Well, they will have Disney behind them very soon.
What, you talking about Hulu?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least until we see Disney do their razzmatazz or whatever they're going to do.
I read a thing that their subscribers, I don't know what the real number was, but I want to say like 500,000 or something. They've gone up with subscription rates because of the live TV thing that they offer.
Right.
So their live TV subscription is picking up substantially. So that could be a good...
Well, and that's another thing that you might see of what happens with Hulu as time goes on, as time does. You know, I mean, that's the business, you know. I mean, people want an alternative to traditional cable. And there is still a demand and there's still a hunger out there for regular television. You know, to see, you know, regular TV. The only reason I haven't made the jump, and I mean, dude, look, I'm ignorant when it comes to a lot of this shit. I don't really keep on the up and up. I'm curious to see, like, I don't even know, does Sling or Hulu or any of that offer you your local affiliates?
Yeah, so, and that's the other thing about
I mean,
Hulu.
if they do, I mean, fuck, I'd probably be interested in jumping on that action.
PlayStation doesn't offer our ABC, was it ABC affiliate? Yeah, they don't offer our ABC affiliate, but they do offer the other ones. Sling, I don't know what, I think Sling also offers local affiliates. Hulu, it depends on your locale.
So in other words, I can jump on and watch my local news on either Fox or ABC or GNO or any of that shit.
And yeah, you can, but the catch to that is even if they don't offer it, just get an antenna. If all you're watching is local affiliate news, just get an antenna.
Well, I'm kind of fucked now because I live in the swamps, and I tried to hook up my antenna the other day, and that thing does not pick up shit.
Really?
So, yeah.
I think
I gotta get one on my roof. So
no, you just get one of those good HD antennas, like whole house antennas, and you just stick it in your attic, and then that's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out something.
And you just run it into every TV, just like a cable.
Oh, okay, cool. Yes, it just goes to show you how far behind I am on this shit. I don't even know that fucking thing exists. I mean, I'm used to
it exists.
Hey, $25 rabbit ears over at the Best Buy.
$25 to $30 for the HD antenna, and it's a whole house antenna. You just put it in your attic.
You'll have to tag me to such things so I can purchase one
to get you in.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about it a little bit more and more. You know, I mean, I got my Netflix. I mean, I've got my Amazon Prime. I mean, there's a lot of shit to watch on there, but there's some things that I'm missing that I'd like to see. So
yeah, my contract is up for my subscription for TV, so I think I'm gonna make the jump to cut the cable.
Ah, there you go, bud.
So,
well, I mean, that's the thing. You have so many viable alternatives now that are far more affordable. And I think the thing with it is that you're seeing a lot of national cable companies or just, you know, national companies in general. They're going to jump to that. In fact, I wouldn't actually be shocked to see Netflix get in that game eventually.
I don't know that they have to. I mean, I guess they could, but they have enough original programming. They're like an HBO, in my opinion. They're more of an HBO than they are a Hulu. I'd never watch Netflix to see the old episodes of Will and Grace or whatever the hell comes on. I watch Netflix to see Black Mirror or to see...
Correct.
You know, whatever. I think I'd read that Netflix is going to start doing a couple things. First of all, they're going to do little 15-minute comedy shows instead of like just a highlight.
Yeah, similar to what Cartoon
comedians.
Network was doing. Yeah,
and they're also going to start doing magic shows.
Magic shows.
They're going to start highlighting magicians.
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, my point is they got enough shit.
Oh yeah, they got a ton of stuff, and I mean it's a matter of good programming. I mean, they got a lot of top shelf programming. They got some shit too, but I mean for the most part, I mean they've got some good stuff that can sustain them. I mean, just the whole thing with it is that, and I don't have no idea how that business works, but I mean the thing with it is, let's say that you have 8 shows. Okay, I mean, at what point do you cap out? I mean, the thing with it is, I guess you have to keep producing content to keep your current subscriptions. But, you look at some shows like Ozark or things like that are probably not that expensive to produce. But they got this new show that's coming on in February, I think it is. It's like Hard Carbon or something, and it's like a cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And they're saying that this fucking thing is like one of the most expensive television shows ever produced.
Per episode.
It looks fucking awesome, though. I can't wait to see it. I've always loved that genre. And the movies that are based on it have not really done that genre a lot of justice.
True. I saw Bright. Speaking of Netflix, I saw Bright, and I don't know if I told you all this, but I feel like it was good, but I feel like it would have been better as a series.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that.
Maybe I'm so used to that series thing that Netflix does, but I just feel like I could have used more.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
It's fine.
I've heard the people who are pro Bright, and I've heard the people who are anti Bright, and I think the thing with it is that I think both of them have valid. Yeah. I think both of them have valid arguments. The person that I heard speak, or one of the things that I read on the Bright show, one of the anti people that were kind of they didn't like it, was the fact that they said that they were really aggravated and that the show really missed some golden opportunities for world building. They said basically what it comes down to is that you have a show where you just have orcs inhabiting regular everyday Earth that has magic. You had a lot of opportunities to have the orcs kind of create their own culture and their own thing, and you could see constructions of like their own buildings, like what an orc slum would look like, and how would that be?
I mean, they sort of do touch on that, but it's the plot of that film is such this other thing that it's kind of hard to. That's why I said it needs a series, because so you can do those things. You really need to have an episode that's just dedicated to orcs or just dedicated to elves. But it was fun. But a series would have been a lot better.
Oh, and you never know, man. With Netflix, it might launch into that. They might sit there and look at it and say, okay, well, look.
Can we spend that much money on Will Smith?
Well, they spent, from what my understanding was, the budget to do this movie was like $90 million.
Oh.
And I mean, dude, that's damn near being like a Hollywood block. I mean, normally Hollywood movies are like 120 to 150 million. And they said $90 million to make this movie, and they could have probably sat back and said, well, look, we'll go with the classic, 8-episode format and just do $10 million per episode and fucking blow it out. And that may happen. You never know. I mean, if it turns into something serious, I mean, they've already kind of built themselves and have established themselves as a series-based network. Yeah. So,
I think
no
they
telling.
Should stick with that. They're good at it.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to look at this whole kind of like landscape of stream television. And, not that far off, man. You're probably talking like 3 to 5 years. And seeing really around that time how everything's going to stand and which cable companies are going to be gone and which ones have been able to have enough national influence. I think locals like we have, like Charter or Cox, they're kind of fucked. But you got like Warner Brothers, Comcast. You have these big national companies, AT&T.
Cox is a big national company.
Yeah, I mean, but they're not. I mean, they're still kind of like regional. I mean, they like Warner Brothers is every fucking where.
Sure.
And they've got the shit. Comcast is every fucking where, and they're in large markets, so they can adapt to the times. AT&T is literally everywhere, and AT&T is already talking about with their DirecTV, they're going to get away from the box entirely. And they're going to go more of the route of what you see with Sling TV.
They are, direct
so
now.
When you sign up for them, you can tell them, okay, look, I want to buy your service. we'll sign you to a 2-year contract. Okay, make your pick. Do you want a Fire Stick or do you want an Apple TV?
Right.
And they give you an option of which one you want. You can probably pay extra money for whatever.
Well, they're doing that now with DirecTV. They're you sign 3 months and they give you an Apple TV, but you got to sign.
Right,
3
right,
months
yeah, right.
Instead of, but I mean that they're looking up. They offer like $5 premium channels right now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's going to get to that eventually. They're going to get to that point, and I mean, if you think about it, there's really no overhead for them, really.
And
I mean, the only thing they got to tag you on is fucking usage. That's really it.
And they own that anyway.
Yeah, right. So that's pretty much the name of the game. So,
right.
Yeah, but real interesting times that we live in. So,
yeah.
All right, our last bit of news here, and we'll do a little shorty here today since we're missing one of our appendages here.
JB.
Last piece of news is Ryan Reynolds and the team that made Deadpool. They're going to move over and do a remake of the movie Clue. I don't know how I necessarily feel about this.
I'm in because I thought Clue was a good film, and but I also think a Ryan Reynolds helmed Deadpool team Clue would be just as good.
Man, I don't know. I love the first one so much, and I mean I understand it's not like the first one's going to go away, but
no,
it'll be interesting to see if they can make something that's going to be kind of like comparable. But I'm expecting a lot of dick and fart jokes in a remake of in a Ryan Reynolds driven version of Clue.
Who would have thought that the Jumanji film would have done what it's doing?
Dude, that motherfucker they say made top Star Wars. They're saying it made top Last Jedi.
They're talking about if the sequel, when they do, which they're going to do a sequel.
Oh yeah.
They're going to run up against Episode 9.
There you go.
So whether they do it like they did now, but that's the talks.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Fuck, why wouldn't they? I mean, they already proven that they can kick him in the dick. So
that's a reboot done well.
Yes, sir.
So
yeah, and I hear it's great. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard
film.
it's a lot of fun. So that's cool. I'll jump on that. It's not like it's leaving anytime soon. So
no, it's not.
Indeed. All right, man. Is there anything else you want to add?
That's it.
All right. Well, look, before we sign off here, we'd like to remind you, jump over to iTunes, please subscribe. Leave us a 5-star rating. If you are a true fan of the show, please leave us a review. The more reviews we have, the higher we jump up the charts. Also, make sure to join our Facebook group, PPVGuys group on Facebook. We kind of chat with you guys, hang out, chew the fat, bullshit back and forth. Check that out. And also check out our friends over at Not Real Radio and Scary Thoughts, which I think there's a rumor flying around right now about Scary Thoughts.
What?
We're talking about maybe doing a co-op episode with them. So, yeah, so we'll be talking about that in the very near future. I won't reveal what movie we'll be talking about, but it's pretty fucking hilarious. So, all right, well, cool stuff. Thanks for listening and seeing.